The global fighter market is being pulled toward two increasingly difficult extremes. At one end are thousands of aging aircraft becoming more expensive, unreliable, and dangerous to keep flying. At the other are advanced stealth fighters surrounded by costs, political restrictions, and tightly controlled support systems that many governments cannot accept. That leaves a growing number of air forces with no obvious replacement. South Korea responded by making a calculated compromise. It kept the radar, networking, weapons, and performance expected from a modern fighter, while leaving out some of the features that make fifth-generation aircraft so difficult to build, buy, and independently control. The result has now entered production. South Korea built directly into the divide. South Korea's answer. That aircraft is the KF-21 Boramae. It first flew in July 2022, but the milestone that matters came nearly 4 years later. After roughly 1,600 development test sorties, South Korea rolled out the first production aircraft on March 25, 2026. That changed the program completely. A prototype only has to prove that one aircraft can fly. A production fighter has to prove that dozens can be built to the same standard, with consistent radar performance, flight control software, wiring, structural tolerances, and weapons interfaces. And the challenge does not stop at the factory door. Each aircraft must enter a support system capable of supplying engines, radar modules, replacement parts, software updates, and train maintainers for decades. A fighter that cannot generate sorties reliably is not an operational capability, no matter how impressive it looked during testing. South Korea has already ordered an initial 40 Block 1 aircraft, with plans for a fleet of roughly 120 by the early 2030s. Deliveries to the Republic of Korea Air Force are expected to begin in the second half of 2026. So the KF-21 is no longer mainly a story about whether South Korea can design an advanced jet. It is now a test of whether the country can manufacture, support, and eventually export one at scale. But production alone does not explain why another fighter is needed. Why the fighter market is split in two. To understand why the KF-21 exists, we first need to understand how the fighter market split in two. Many air forces still rely on aircraft design during the Cold War, including early F-16s, F-5s, MiG-29s, and older Mirage variants. These fighters can still perform useful missions, but age is making them harder and more expensive to maintain. The obvious replacement is often the F-35. It combines stealth, sensor fusion, electronic warfare, and network combat in a way no widely exported rival fully matches. And with 191 deliveries in 2025, the KF-21's opportunity cannot be explained by F-35 production shortages alone. The deeper issue is what different air forces actually need. Some countries require an aircraft capable of penetrating advanced air defenses. Others mainly need air policing, interception, maritime defense, and modern weapons to replace fleets approaching the end of their service lives. Advanced non-stealth fighters such as Rafale, Gripen E, and Eurofighter remain highly capable. But they are also expensive strategic purchases with demanding support requirements and political conditions of their own. So the market gap is not simply between cheap and expensive aircraft. It is between maximum capability that a country can realistically afford, obtain, and control. Because governments do not simply buy fighter aircraft. They buy everything required to operate them. What a fighter buyer really buys. Governments do not simply buy fighter aircraft. They buy everything required to operate them. A contract may include weapons, pilot training, simulators, spare engines, maintenance equipment, software support, and years of replacement parts. Some deals also include local assembly or permission to integrate national weapons. That is why public price comparisons can be misleading. One figure may describe a largely bare aircraft. Another may include missiles, infrastructure, and long-term support. A low flyaway price reveals little about what the fleet will cost over several decades. The more important questions come after delivery. Which weapons can the aircraft carry? How much maintenance can be performed domestically? Who controls future software updates and modifications? The F-35 benefits from a huge multinational fleet and an established support network, but it also operates within American approval processes and a tightly managed software ecosystem. European fighters may offer more customization, but production capacity and political approval still limit what buyers receive. For a medium-sized Air Force, sovereignty does not mean manufacturing every component at home. It means having enough control to maintain, arm, and upgrade the aircraft without renegotiating its future whenever national requirements change. South Korea designed the KF-21 around that demand, and the compromise is visible throughout the aircraft. Engineering the missing middle. South Korea engineered the KF-21 around that ownership problem, and the compromise is visible across the aircraft. The jet is roughly 17 meters long, powered by two GE F-414 engines and capable of speeds around Mach 1.8. It carries a domestically developed ESA radar, modern avionics, and the weapons capacity expected from a frontline fighter, but was not designed around maximum stealth. The airframe uses aligned edges, carefully shaped surfaces, and radar-absorbing materials to reduce the energy reflected back toward an enemy sensor. That should make it harder to detect than many older fighters. But reduced observability is not the same as full stealth. The initial KF-21 carries missiles, bombs, and fuel tanks externally. Each weapon, pylon, and tank creates additional radar reflections, while exposed engine features and less extensive heat signature control further separate it from the F-35. That limitation is real, but also reveals how South Korea reduced the program's complexity. An internal weapons bay requires more than empty space inside the fuselage. Its doors must open at high speed without destabilizing the aircraft. Weapons must separate safely through turbulent airflow, and the mechanism must operate reliably while preserving the aircraft's radar signature. By carrying weapons externally, South Korea avoided much of that engineering burden during the first production stage. Weapons are easier to load, inspect, and replace. Different missile shapes can be integrated without redesigning an internal bay, and new capabilities can be certified gradually rather than delaying the entire aircraft. The radar follows the same strategy. Hanwha Systems developed the KF-21's ESA radar inside South Korea. Its classified performance cannot be verified through public range claims, but domestic control matters more than a speculative number. South Korea can modify the radar, connect it to new weapons, and improve its software without depending entirely on a foreign supplier. The engines reveal the trade-off from the opposite direction. The F-414 is a mature American engine family, reducing propulsion risk and allowing local assembly through Hanwha Aerospace. But it also preserves American influence over some exports and future support. The KF-21 is therefore neither fully independent nor fully dependent. It combines domestic control, where South Korea considered it strategically essential, with proven foreign technology, where developing everything from scratch would have added years of risk. Its incomplete stealth is not simply a weakness. It is part of what allowed the aircraft to reach production at all. The competition is not one race. But the KF-21 is not competing against every fighter for the same customer. Combat aircraft competitions are filters. Political alignment may eliminate one aircraft before performance is compared. Existing weapons, training systems, and maintenance infrastructure may remove others. For countries that need to penetrate heavily defended airspace, the F-35 remains the stronger option. Its stealth, sensor fusion, and established support network give it capabilities the KF-21 does not match. But many buyers are solving a different problem. The Rafale offers a mature multi-role platform, combat experience, and a broad weapons portfolio, but it remains a major strategic acquisition. The Gripen-E is designed around maintainability, dispersed operations, and a smaller logistical footprint, making it one of the KF-21's closest competitors, where flexibility and industrial cooperation matter. The Eurofighter delivers high-end combat performance, but its multinational structure can complicate production and customization. Then there is the F-16 Block 70. For existing F-16 operators, it offers modern radar, familiar training, and a global support network without forcing the Air Force to adopt an entirely new aircraft family. The KF-21 does not need to defeat all of them. It must win a smaller group of competitions where buyers want modern, Western-compatible capability, but also demand more control, industrial participation, or political flexibility than existing suppliers offer. That advantage may not be hidden inside the aircraft. It may come from the way South Korea is willing to sell it. South Korea's export strategy. The aircraft is only one part of South Korea's plan. The other is how the country intends to sell it. South Korea has already built export momentum with systems such as the F-35, K-9 artillery, and K-2 tank. Its offers often emphasize rapid delivery, local assembly, training, and long-term maintenance partnerships. The KF-21 applies that model to a far more sensitive product. A fighter contains controlled radar software, encrypted systems, weapons interfaces, and foreign engine technology. South Korea may offer customers more industrial participation than some competitors, but local assembly does not equal complete independence. Indonesia shows why. Its involvement in the KF-21 program brought years of disputes over payments, technology transfer, and work share. The relationship eventually moved forward, but it demonstrated how quickly flexibility can become a source of delay and political risk. Export cooperation could become the KF-21's strongest advantage. It could also become one of the program's hardest problems to control, where the strategy could fail. But the same compromises that created this opportunity could also limit it. The KF-21 has completed extensive testing, but it has no combat record and no long-term operational history. Reliability, maintenance demands, and sortie generation still have to be proven across an entire fleet. Its reduced radar signature also has limits. External weapons and fuel tanks make the aircraft easier to detect than an F-35 carrying weapons internally, restricting where it can operate safely against advanced air defenses. Some of its most ambitious capabilities remain planned rather than operational. Broader strike options, electronic warfare improvements, and future stealth upgrades still depend on funding, testing, and production decisions. And export independence is incomplete. American engines and other foreign components may still require outside approval. The KF-21 may sit between existing categories only to discover that some buyers prefer a cheaper, proven fighter, while others will pay more for full stealth. What the KF-21 actually changes. The KF-21 has not replaced the F-35 or made existing fighters obsolete. What it has created is another choice. For South Korea, it establishes a domestic fighter industry with greater control over radar, avionics, and future upgrades. For potential customers, it offers a Western-compatible aircraft with a possibility of more industrial participation and national control. But the opportunity is not yet proven. The KF-21 still needs to demonstrate reliable fleet operations, competitive long-term costs, and an export system capable of supporting customers for decades. Its success will not depend on matching the F-35 stealth. It will depend on whether South Korea can deliver enough capability at the right price, while giving buyers more authority over the aircraft after the contract is signed. Because in the modern fighter market, access and control may be capabilities of their own.